come on. Of course they're sold out. What do I do? How about instead of spending that much money, instead I spend $400 on a used computer? So last night I was on Facebook Marketplace, browsing for computer parts as I normally do in my free time. And I come across this ad, 300 Australian dollars for a graphics card, CPU, motherboard, RAM, although there's a catch, and we'll get into that. But before, let me show you what I got. Alrighty. So for 300, ow. For 300 Australian dollars, I got all of this. Alright, let's go through one by one. So I got an NHD 15S Noctua cooler. How good is that? So remember, this is all for 300 Australian dollars. I got an MSI B450 motherboard with a condition, I'll get to that soon. A Radeon RX 5700 XT, which is confirmed and working. And then in here, I've actually got the CPU cooler, a Ryzen 5 2600X, and the motherboard. And this is a Meshify case of sorts, which doesn't have any screws on the side panel. That's alright. It was fairly cheap anyway, I might swap it out anyway. Alrighty, now just taking a look inside the PC. It's pretty dusty, but what's really awesome is the white motherboard. And that's why I'm kind of convinced that I want to do a case swap. Because there's a really nice white case on Amazon right now, which is the Thermalright T170, which is pretty cool. It's fish tank, and I think that'll really help this sell. But yeah, the case is really dusty right now, and I think it needs a solid clean anyway, even if I'm not going to use it. So let's go do that right now. Also under here is a Ryzen 5 2600X, but the condition was that he doesn't know if it's working or not. This is his brother's PC, and his brother moved away overseas. And to be honest, he doesn't know much about computers, so he just sold this. So could it be working? Maybe. Could it be broken? Maybe. But there's actually some pretty nice I/O on the back, and if I can get the motherboard working and the CPU's dead or something, that'd be fine. If I can't get the motherboard working, that's a little bit sad, but that's also alright. But let's go outside and clean this up first, because there's a spiderweb inside. Alright, so I've just got the blower, and I'm going to start with that, then I'll wipe it down with a cloth. I think if you were to buy that from the store, you'd take a look at it and you'd go, huh, that's pretty brand new. Just don't look at the front. That looks pretty good. Now, we do actually have a problem with the side panel. Aside from only having one screw, you can see that we've only got a grommet here and a grommet here that you actually screw into. And on the bottom, you can't screw into anything. Like, it's completely gone. So I'm either going to have to find a replacement, which is going to be tricky because cases don't really have that a lot. Or I think I'm just going to end up buying a new white PC case, which is what I'm going to do. Because aesthetics are everything, and I don't really feel like selling a PC with only 2 screws on the side panel. Now what I did forget to mention was the DDR4. This is 3200 megahertz of G-Skill Sniper X, and it's like camo, because it's a sniper, I guess. So I'm just going to pop those in slots 2 and 4, and then we should be able to boot with our GPU in. For our power supply, I just picked this up for 65 bucks from ScorpTech. It's a Silverstone ET550, 550 watt, 80 plus bronze power supply, so it should do the job. It's also non-modular, which is a little annoying, but I'll get used to it. Alrighty, I've got the PC plugged in, ready to go with the monitor up here, and it's plugged in via HDMI, so let's see if this boots, and I hope it does, but I'm trying to figure out which one it is. Power LED, power switch, those two. Got to turn the power supply on first. Spins to life. We've got fans, we've got LEDs. Do we get a monitor output? I'm just going to wait. Oh, here we go. F1 to run setup. Holy crap. For 300 bucks, we get a CPU, RAM, a GPU, a motherboard, and a case for 300 bucks. Like, how good is that deal? Holy. For 300 bucks we get all of that. And the guy thought it was broken. And we get a cooler, a Noctua cooler. Like, come on. I actually don't think words can express how happy I am right now. Like, Ryzen 5 2600X, RX 5700 XT, that in itself is worth about 200 bucks. RAM, motherboard, case. So all I have to do is get the power supply and also get the SSD. And then I'm done. Easiest PC flip of my life. Now unfortunately Amazon's saying that the case is going to arrive on Monday, so I do have to wait 2 days before I can, you know, keep filming. But yeah, let's go. I'll see you back on Monday. So it's currently Monday, and while I build this PC, let me tell you about the parts I chose. So for the CPU cooler, I went with the Thermalright Assassin X120. It's just a 120mm tower cooler. It's white, it's RGB, it's good. And then for the case, I went with the Thermaltake View 170. And if you want to watch that review, I just posted it before this video, so check that out. The only downside here is the cables. As you can see, they have like this little slot, but it goes behind the motherboard. Technically, the motherboard is supported, but the holes just aren't big enough. Woohoo! Does that look good? I mean, it's just a white PC with a white motherboard, with a white CPU cooler, with white cable extensions, with nice white RGB. What more do you want from it? Like, it just looks amazing in my opinion, and I honestly couldn't be happier with the final product. But as Shakespeare once said, looks can be deceiving. So how does it actually perform? Well, thermally, just look at the numbers. Yeah, that's 108 degrees on the GPU hotspot. So yeah, I think I need to repaste that GPU, so let's do that right now. Now, if we take a look at the GPU when it's torn down, you can see it's not the best paste in the world. And especially when you look at the cooler as well, it's pretty dry, and it's a pretty dry application. Now unfortunately some of the thermal pads did rip, but they're in a condition where I can just put it back on because they're still in fairly good condition and they will just squash down. If I need to replace them, I'll order some tomorrow, but for now I'm just going to repaste the GPU and put it back together. So let's do that and see how it works. But yeah, that GPU coverage right there is really poor, and that's why we were seeing 105 degrees. So as you can see right now, we are doing much better in the hotspot and the temps are pretty much the same. But the hotspot before was at about 105 degrees, pushing 107 and it kept climbing. But now we're sitting at 88 degrees Celsius, which is much better and is quite acceptable. And then for our GPU temp, we're at 63 degrees. Now Gigabyte cards, I find the 3-fan models do actually tend to run a little bit hotter from this era. But yeah, this is perfectly fine. And considering we're running a full stress test, this is more than acceptable. Now let's run some gaming benchmarks. In Fortnite at 1080p high, we averaged around 96 FPS, which was really solid. Then in 1080p in performance mode, we averaged 141. And then in CSGO at 1080p high, again, we're averaging around 120. Then in Marvel Rivals with frame gen on, we got about 127 and it felt pretty smooth. And then even after turning frame gen off, we did average 90 FPS, which was pretty good in my opinion, and it felt really responsive. So wow, this PC is really amazing. The 5700 XT is still a very capable card in 2025, even though it was released quite a while ago. It definitely performs well in most games, and you can definitely up those settings, and especially if you were to upgrade the CPU from a Ryzen 5 2600 to something like a 5600 on this B450 motherboard, it would be an amazing deal. Like, I don't think you'd be able to beat much performance for the price. So I've actually got a buyer lined up and he's gonna buy this for 700 Australian dollars. So let's go sell that right now. I'll let you know how it goes when I get back. Woo! That, in my opinion, is a good profit margin. 220 Australian dollars. He paid $700 for it. He gets a nice PC and I get a hefty little bit of profit. Very excited about that one. And the fact that it was broken, well, he thought it was broken before he sold it to me, well, that just makes it all the better. So yeah, I'm really happy with it. Make sure you like, subscribe, and get ready for the next upload sometime in the future, maybe a month or two away. But yeah, get ready.